What about the forced parity from HEX and EHEX and the value in PLS? Guys, go to furufinance.com and book a one-on-one. But the forced parity from the HEX and EHEX and the value in PLS. So the forced parity, I explained this yesterday, but my numbers were wrong, so it's a good thing I'm going to re-explain it. But if you're enjoying the show, please give it a like and subscribe. Okay. Forced parity from HEX and EHEX and the value in PLS. So liquidity pools, right? There's thin liquidity, right, where there are very few pairings. And what does thin liquidity mean? High volatility. Thin liquidity is high volatility. Why? Why, right? We always want to know the why. So you have a liquidity pool. I like the 3 and 3. Okay, so 3. I'm running out of. So you have 3 HEX, right? These are pairings. We're at 1-to-1 right now. 3 HEX and 3 Ethereum. This is very, very thin liquidity. There's only 3 pairs, which means that if you want to buy HEX, so you have you, okay, you got your Ethereum, you want to buy HEX, okay? I like this ratio. So you go to the pool. This is the pool. Okay. You take your Ethereum, you drop it there, right? This is liquidity. It's 1-to-1. They're putting out their hand, as Sam Stoltz says, and they're saying, take one and leave the other. You drop your Ethereum, right? This is what you're doing when you use Uniswap. You're taking the HEX. All right. So HEX is gone. Okay. Ethereum's added. Okay. Now I'm stuck with, I got the 1 HEX. We went from 1-to-1, right? Because it's 3 and 3 to 2-to-1. Now the pool is 2-to-1, right? You have 2 HEX. This is like chemistry. I took chemistry, pre-med stuff, right? 2 HEX, right? To 4 Ethereum. Okay. And that's your new price. If you want 1 HEX, you got to drop in 2 Ethereum now. Price doubled in a trade of 1 HEX. That is very thin liquidity. That is only 3 pairs. What if you have 6 pairs? Okay. So you went with one trade. You've doubled the price. What if you have 6 pairs? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's 1-to-1. Okay. I come here. I want HEX, right? I want HEX. Okay. So I take my Ethereum, which I bought on Coinbase, drop it here. Okay. I got ETH. And I take a HEX. Gone. I'm now a hexagon. Right? What's the new ratio now? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 5-to-7. Which is what? 7 divided by 5. What's 7 divided by 5, folks? Oh, I got to get this out of the way. 1.4-to-1. to 1. Dots. 1.421. So 1.4 to 1. 1.4 to 1. So in this liquidity pool where there are only 3 pairs, one trade doubled the price. But now it's thicker. There are 6 pairs. So now you only had instead of a 2x, you got a 1.4x on the price of one trade. And the pattern continues. The more liquidity you have, meaning the more pairs you have in the pool, the harder it is to change the ratio. The more HEX or ETH or whatever coin you are, the more you need to trade to change the ratio. We could do one more example, but no, whatever. You get the point. Okay, fine. So this was 6. Now you want to do 6. Let's say it's 12. So if it's 12, if you have 12 HEX paired with 12 Ethereum, and you take 1 HEX and you drop an Ethereum, so now you're at 13 plus 1. Now you're at 13 HEX, and you are at minus 1. 13 to 11. 13 divided by 11. 13 divided by 11 is 1.18. So now your ratio is 1.18. So you're only going to need 1.18 HEX. So instead of going up 40%, it only went up 18%. The pattern continues. The more liquidity you add, the more pairings there are, the harder it is to change the ratio, which means you need more HEX. You need more and more HEX to change the ratio. Okay? PulseChain launches, guys. PulseChain launches. Oh my God, we're going to the moon. PulseChain launches. Okay? Not Richard Hart. The OA, I'm sorry. The OA comes. The OA's like, hey, the OA organization, entity, he, she, it, they, them, their, urge, whatever the pronouns are, the OA comes and says, hey, I like EHEX. I know a lot of people, they bought EHEX, right? A lot of people, they bought EHEX. They didn't expect the gas fees to, get this high. They didn't expect that it would, become obsolete if for the gas fees, which I don't think it will actually, but whatever. People don't like, paying a lot in gas. So that's going to maybe devalue HEX, right? But I don't want that. I like HEX. I like HEX. I like the stock. I like HEX. So the OA comes. So Mr. OA comes. Mr. OA has more HEX in his wallets, or her, or they, or, the organization, group of people, whatever entity has more HEX, and we have no expectations of this, but the OA has more HEX in the wallet than all of the HEX outside the OA wallet, than all of the HEX outstanding on the market, right? So, you see how the more liquidity pairs you provide, right? The more pairs you provide, the harder it is to change the ratio. So if the OA comes on PulseChain launch, right? When HEX is whatever, $30. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what it's going to be, but hopefully it'll be there. Whatever. The OA comes and starts providing liquidity. But the OA, you think it's hard, right? When it goes from 3 pairs to 6, it takes a lot more to change the ratios. It goes to 6 to 12, it takes more to change the ratios. How about you go from there to 10 billion EHEX, well, that's million, 10 billion EHEX on one side, and then on the other side of the pairing is 10 billion PHEX. How much HEX is it going to take? That means every time that you trade one EHEX for PHEX, the ratio changes 0.09456, whatever. A lot of zeros. There isn't enough HEX outstanding where somebody could take, even if somebody would take like make it like 30 billion, I don't know, whatever the number is required. But there gets to a point where there is enough HEX. So this is a 1-to-1 ratio that even if you take like all the HEX, you know, in everyone's wallet, all the EHEX, and you trade it for PHEX, you're going to make the ratio 1.000000001 to 1, whatever, to 1. Nobody has enough buying power to change it from 1 to 1. And if it's at 1 to 1, then it is at parity, right? And why? It's 1 to 1, meaning tradable 1 EHEX for 1 PHEX. But against the US dollar, it's different, right? The US dollar pairs could change. So let's say you have 1 to 1 and they start off, let's say HEX is $1. It's not a liquidity pair, but it's $1 EHEX, $1 EHEX, and $1 PHEX, right? They're each $1, and they're tradable 1 for 1. So what happens when the price of EHEX in the liquidity pools, right? People sell EHEX for US dollars, and the price goes down of EHEX. So EHEX is now going down to 90 cents. We have a 90 cent. You have a 90 cent EHEX, 90 cent EHEX for and you have still $1 PHEX. $1 PHEX, okay? But they're tradable 1 for 1, okay? They're tradable 1 for 1. This is what is called an arbitrage opportunity. This is why Sam Bankman-Fried allegedly was such a legend, right? HEX says I'm wrong. I'm wrong? I might have to send you an invite, man. Let me just finish this and then tell me why I'm wrong. But EHEX is at $90, but the liquidity pool OA made 10 billion to 10 billion, so you can't change it. It's always 1 to 1. Oh, he's saying I'm right. Okay, thank you. Phew, I got scared there. Okay, so you have people that do what is known as arbitrage. If it's always exchangeable 1 to 1, they're going to buy EHEX for 90 cents for US dollars. They're going to buy 90 cent HEX on Ethereum, right? They are going to take that 90 cent EHEX, they're going to go to the liquidity pool, and they are going to swap it for PHEX because it's 1 to 1, right? Right. So for 90 cent EHEX, right? This is Mr. Banker, rich arbitrage man. He's got a top hat. Okay, Mr. Banker has a lot of money. Okay, he buys 90 cent EHEX for one. He buys EHEX for 90 USDC. Then he goes to the liquidity pool. He trades it for PHEX. He gets $1. Trades it, right? He trades it for $1 PHEX. He just made 10 cents because what he could do is now he could go to the PHEX liquidity pool and sell it for $1. So he made 10 cents on the dollar, right? Then he sells that $1 PHEX for 1 USDC. Sells it for 1 USDC. So he, with 90 cents, made $1. He will, and what happens? He'll keep doing that. And when he keeps doing that, the price goes up. So he's going to push the price of EHEX up, and he's going to sell the price of PHEX down until they meet, until there's no gap, and then it's not worthwhile to do anymore. That is what is known as arbitrage. Arbitrage. Okay, guys. That is what's known as arbitrage. why is Bitcoin the same price on every exchange, more or less, right? So you have Binance, right? You have Coinbase, right? They both have completely different order books, different customers, whatever, but the price of Bitcoin is more or less the same. I mean, whatever. It's more or less the same. Why? Because let's say Bitcoin is trading at $1,000 on Binance, okay? Okay. If Bitcoin on Binance is trading at $1,000, okay? And on Coinbase, Bitcoin is trading at $990, okay? Then Sam Bankman-Fried, before he went to jail, okay? You have Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Bankman-Fried. What does he do? He has a lot of money. Money. Sam Bankman-Fried has a lot of money, right? Right? He goes, he buys the Bitcoin on Coinbase, buys it for $990, and he sells it, buys it on Coinbase, Coinbase, and then he sells it. He sells it on Binance for $1,000. So he bought it, so he buys it for $990, takes it, goes to Binance, and sells it for $1,000. He just made $10. He just made $10. And it's just $10. Yeah, it's $10, but if you do it, that's if you do it with one Bitcoin. But think about if you do it with 1,000, you know what I'm saying? Then you're making good money. So that is also arbitrage. So could he just keep doing this? Arbitrage. Could he keep on doing this? No. Why? Why can't he just, keep on buying it for $990 and selling it for $1,000 and just retire? Because as he buys it up, the price goes up, right? And as he sells it here, the price goes down. So the Bitcoin, the Coinbase from 1,000 drops to $995 eventually after enough. And then this goes up this goes up 5 to $995. And now you have equal Bitcoin prices across exchanges. That is why that is what arbitrage is. And given that HEX on Ethereum, if OA does what Johnny Chaos says he's going to do, if it's always tradable 1-to-1, right, then people will arbitrage the US dollar differential. But if you enjoyed this, make sure you go to furufinance.com and book a one-on-one.